Hey, Robert.
What's up, Chip?
We're going to play in the mud today.
Sorry. Yay. Well, I've been waiting to play in the mud.
Hey, folks. Chip and Rob are in the shop tonight, and this is part 2 of a multi-part series on making Adobe brick. Did those eyes instead of fire with bright but mild affection shine? Though they might kindle less desire, love more than mortal would be thine.
Oh, baby. Your words. I should give you a big kiss.
Okay.
But even though they weren't your words, they still moved me.
Moved you? Oh, they moved you off that stool.
I did. I got up.
Oh, Robert.
So what's the plan, Stan?
Robert, I don't think we have at least 20% clay. I'm
You don't
not sure.
think?
No, initial indications
Not 20%.
would suggest not 20%. Somewhere around 17. Won't know for sure until we do 2 more tests. But if we have 10 centimeters of sediment in here, and if like less than 2 centimeters of it is clay, which if this is what I'm reading may be true, we'll have about 16, 17, 18% clay. Which means we have to amend the soil a little bit to get what we want out of it.
Are you sad? Is it a sad day?
I'm not done. We have some more tests to do on it to see. We're going to see if we can get 20%, at least 20% out of this. We got to. We'll do it. Remember part 1, you saw us actually, extract the soil from Contentment. We brought it back here to the shop where we're going to play in it basically, do several tests on it and see how it holds up. Now, a lot of the information that we're going to give out here is not our own. We've relied on other people that we're grateful for. One of them is Harold Scroggins, who wrote a paper in 1981 called the Portalab Manual that describes many of these tests that we're going to do. They're simple engineering soil tests that you can do in the field and in the shop, determine if your soil is suitable for making Adobe brick. I also would commend you to a website where I got a lot of really good information, and that is called greenhomebuilding.com. Quentin Wilson is a very well-known Adobe expert in New Mexico and has a lot of great information there on that website. And there are other really good contributors. It's all free and it's all available to you by going to greenhomebuilding.com. So let's get started on this. First thing we're going to do
What?
is let's take a sample of this soil that we've sifted, and let's wet it, and let's do a proper pH test on it, because we tried to do a pH test out in the field, but we didn't have any distilled water. A pH test calls for distilled water. Why? I'm not sure, because heaven knows you're not going to use distilled water when you're making Adobe brick.
Well, does that have anything to do with how the brick turns out, the pH level?
If you have too many salts, boron and other alkalins in the soil, that can have an effect on how well the brick holds together. I've seen a lot of Adobe brick too, where when it's made with salts and alkaline material, over time you'll actually see the salts leach out of the brick and form a little white crust. You know, I'm trying to understand this, because you can do a pH test here in the lab with distilled water, and you could get one reading, and then you could use the highly mineralized groundwater out there on site to actually mix your brick and come up with probably a slightly different pH. So I'm not quite sure, I mean, unless it's really, really alkaline, how big of a difference it's going to make, you know, the pH. So we'll see. You're still at pH 7. I think mine went to 7.4 there for a moment. There? I guess. Mine went to 7.4 briefly, and then, so I guess I'm a little acidic.
Hey, is that giblet gravy? I hope that's giblet gravy.
How you the first one in line? You ain't bring nothing. Elders eat first. The elders eat first.
Potluck, potluck, potluck. Everybody bring something. Dish up, potluck, 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 potluck. If you're ready to grub, let's up, potluck, 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 potluck. Everybody bring something. Dish up, potluck, 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 potluck. I can't wait to get a plate. Potluck.
This ain't a gourmet China plate soiree. It's an old school comfort food on paper plate pate. Picture a baked bean, potato salad kind of scene. Brats, burgers, sloppy joes, I think you know what I mean. And I can't wait to fill my plate. Yeah, I'm counting up the days as I salivate. The usuals will be there with the specialties. Sister Jenny's gonna bring the macaroni and cheese. Uncle Ken gonna do it again. Been working on the ham since 3 a.m. Freddy's a magician when it comes to that chicken. He's smoking it like Willie, grilling it into submission. Pretty little Ruby's feeling kinda groovy. She gonna bring the blender so she can make smoothies. There's a couple of vegetarians up in the mix, so if you like your greens, we got 'em extra crisp. My favorite auntie's gluten-free, so I'm baking double fudge GF brownies.
It's like making cornbread dressing the southern way. Mix it up.
Cornbread dressing, is there a northern way?
Well, I'm only going by the things I've seen,
Oh.
where people just get their hands down in it and just go to mixing it, because it does,
Sort of like stuffing.
yes, a better job.
Turkey stuffing. Mix it with your hands.
We
Stuff it
don't stuff
inside.
turkeys around here.
Oh.
Well, I don't anyway.
Have you seen a turkey with more than one beard?
No. Someone I know shot one once.
Turkey with 2 beards.
And then
That's a double bearded
he
turkey
brought
right
it in,
there.
and it's there. I thought it was something kind of up around its.
No, the beard is usually down
But
there.
it's lower, right?
Usually like on the breast.
But I thought it meant like that red gobbly thing.
No.
Whatever that's called.
No, that's the gobbly thing. That's a turkey neck.
Oh, I want to do it. You're doing it.
Well, I'm just seeing how well it holds together. I don't know if we're ready yet. Yeah, you know what? I think this may do it. All right. So, folks, what you want to do is get this, you know, to the consistency where it'll hold together in a ball without, you know, deforming on its own, where it'll sort of hold up by itself. And about a 1.5 to 2 inch ball.
This is what we used to do when we made rolls. Pinch them off and roll them around, get them nice and round.
I kind of like the way that this soil is hanging to my hands. That's a good sign. Folks, one of the ways you can tell if you've got clay in your soil is by seeing how much of it sticks on your hands. It's sort of a quick and dirty method. Here where we live, there's a lot of clay soil, and it sticks to your hands almost like an oil or a grease. And so a quick way to check and see if you've got clay in your soil is to sort of dip your hands in the water. Don't rub them together a lot, but just sort of agitate them in the water, and that falls off generally is not clay. That which sticks to your hands is. So, I'm just going to dip my hands in the water. Nice, cool water. It's beautiful. As you can see, we've got some clay in this soil stuck to my hands, and it does even have sort of a smooth, almost greasy feel to it. Not a lot of it, but it's there. What Robert's got here is just a plain old garden style pH tester. She's going to insert it in this it is warm, but she's going to insert it in this moist earth that we just mixed up, and let's get a pH reading on it. Turn it on, stick it in. Well, at first it read 8.3, now it's 7.7, and then it goes back to 7.0. I don't know why it does that. Let's turn it back on again.
So
7.0, 7.9.
Now it jumped down
It
to
goes back to, oh, battery must be weak or something. Let's see.
what kind of battery is it?
Probably AAA.
Oh, no,
gosh,
those
it's a
fun
large
things.
battery. Oh my gosh. Wonder how long that's been sitting on the shelf. So about the highest you want, the highest pH you want in the soil is about 8. More than that's a little too alkaline. And so, I mean, I'm going to call it 8. We've had everything from 7.5 to 8.3. So I'm going to call it around 8.
And what
So we'll do a
happens?
pH test.
What happens if it's more than 8?
Well, again, the soil's heavy in salts. The brick may tend to not hold together as well.
Okay, can you adjust for that?
By using acid water, level out the pH. Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's something you could do. You could amend the soil by adding things to it that are less alkaline.
Mm-hmm.
But it would seem to me you'd have to add a lot. So, anyway. So, there's the pH test. Inconclusive, but we think it's somewhere around 8. And you get to play in the mud for this one. This is the what we call the palm extrusion test. What you do is you take some of this damp soil in your hand, like a 1.5 to 2 inch ball, and then you start rolling it out like a snake in your palm. If the little ribbon or extrusion of soil goes beyond the edge of your hand, and then if the diameter of the piece is between 3/8 and 1/4 of an inch in diameter, and it breaks between 1 1/4 inches and 1 3/4 inches off, from the side of your hand, then that means your clay content is somewhere between 15 and 20%. If it's a longer piece before it breaks off, longer than 1 3/4, then it's 25% clay or higher. And if it breaks off before 1 1/4 inches, then it's probably 10% or less clay. Let it roll off the edge of your hand, and the pieces that break off, see how long they are. Okay, so that piece right there sort of fits the what we're looking for, that 3/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch diameter.
I'm gonna do it again.
Okay. You having fun playing in the mud, Robert?
Yes.
Okay, you're getting close to 3/8 of an inch there. That's about 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and how long would you say that piece is?
Well, I would say about a little over an inch, maybe, because if that's an inch, that's like almost a little more than an inch.
Okay, so if it's between 1 1/4 and 1 3/4, your clay content is between 15 and 20%.
1.5?
That's about 1.5 inches, so that's good news. We got clay content somewhere between 15 and 20%. Okay.
Yay!
All right. I want to try.
No, I get to play in the mud.
Freddy's a magician when it comes to that chicken. He's smoking it like Willie, grilling it into submission. Pretty little Ruby's feeling kind of groovy. She gonna bring the blender so she can make smoothies. There's a couple of vegetarians up in the mix, so if you
15 and 20%. And that sort of agrees with what we did in the field and again here in the shop, where we tried to get an idea for the clay content just by doing a shake test. The initial shake test has us at about, I think it was 17%. And then after it's settled, I'll call this shake 2. We'll call it 14%. The palm test has us at between 15 and 20% clay, and we have some other tests to do. Now it's time for the dreaded drop ball test.
What is that? Sorry. Do we get to drop them?
Yeah,
These?
we get to drop, of course.
These that we just made?
Yes.
Like splatter them on the wall or on the ground?
Well, we're gonna hope they don't splatter.
Oh, okay. So when you say scatter, do you mean like CSI kind of stuff where you have blood spatter and stuff like that sort of thing?
Yeah, sort of. We're gonna take these balls,
Yes.
and we've got a little bullseye here drawn out on the table. And folks, we're gonna drop these balls from about, I don't know, about 3 feet up into this bullseye. And then we're gonna measure the scatter and see how it plays out. If 90% of the scatter from this ball falls within a 2-inch diameter area, then we are reasonably certain of having a clay content between 15 and 20%. If the ball merely just deforms and doesn't really scatter much, if it just sort of flattens out, then we're looking at a higher clay content, probably 25% or higher. If 90% of the scatter occurs between a 3 and 4-inch diameter area, then we're looking at less clay, probably 10% or less. So, Robert's going to stand on this bench and drop these balls, and I'm going to record it, and
I'm
you
going
get
to
to see the fun.
stand on the bench?
Yes, you are. You
How
have
am I
to.
going to get up there?
We'll get you up there.
I'm afraid.
Get ready to drop whenever you're ready.
Count down.
5,
I'm going to miss it.
4, nice nails. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice.
A splat. It didn't do anything.
It deformed.
Let's do it again. Can we do more?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It still plumped.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my gosh, it still just splatted.
Well, it was already kind of flat.
Let's drop it again from high up. Okay.
Okay.
All the way.
So that's not even no countdown now.
It's still just splat.
3, 2, 1.
Blast off.
Okay, well now that's got some cracking in it. That's something to see there.
But it still didn't. When it says scatter, I'm thinking it's going to, like over here when we made the mess earlier and have little not droplets, but little pieces.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. From higher.
3, 2, 1, go.
But it's cracking, but it's not scattering apart.
Yeah. Well, we take all these things into consideration. So.
Let's just throw it really far down. Oh, let's drop it on the ground from way up here.
3, 2, 1.
It still just splats.
It just deforms. Give me a countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Splat! It is a splatter.
It cracked, but it's still
Splat.
intact.
And it goes splat. I don't think that counts.
Doesn't?
It
But it
looks
makes
like
a nice
cookie.
looking cookie.
It does. It looks like a cookie.
According to this, we have a clay content, folks, that is above 25%. So,
Woo!
going back to my notes, we at the shape test suggest we have 17% clay. The second part after settling of the shape test suggests we have 14% clay. The palm test suggests we have between 15 and 20% clay. And now the drop ball test suggests that we have clay at a minimum of 25%. At a minimum, but we don't know if it's more than that. So, what's our average? To get the average, 18.375% clay. If that's true, that's still low. But it will work because you need at least 15% for Adobe brick. You can get by with 15%. But I have an idea, and that comes up next.
Shake, Sonora. I don't know it.
Shake your body like.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake your body like. Put your hand in here. Talking about me.
Or Shake Your Money Maker. What all kinds of shake it songs do you know?
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Good time.
Shake it off, shake it off.
That's good. Ooh, ooh. Shake it.
Shake it for me, country girl, shake it.
Shake it for me, girl. Shake it for me, girl.
What other kinds of shake it songs? Shake.
Is there one about a milkshake?
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Do you know that song?
Somehow I think this milkshake is going to keep it away.
I have one right there. It's a lovely chocolate slurry milkshake.
All right, folks. If you're going to make Adobe brick, make it right. For those of you who have watched a guy on YouTube called AV, A-V, capital E, one of my favorite channels to watch, the guy is crazy fun, and he would be so proud of the fact that I'm using a Makita. So here we go.
My chocolate slurry is the bomb. Oh,
Nice
oh,
and
I'm gonna
easy.
knock a hole in the bucket.
Yeah, nice and easy.
Slow and easy wins the race.
We have one more special ingredient. Where is it?
Straw,
No.
rocks,
Nope.
corn cobs,
Nope.
glass,
Nope.
shells.
Nope.
What is the mystery, E-Chip? Tell me, please. I can't wait to hear.
The mystery is asphalt.
Like what you put on the road?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
One of the downfalls of Adobe is that it tends to break down when it gets wet. Has to be constantly repaired. One of the fixes for this is to stabilize it. And there are a couple of ways that Adobe is stabilized. One is by mixing cement with it. That makes the brick very firm, very stable, and more resistant to break down by the action of water and moisture over time. Another way to do it is by using emulsified asphalt. Emulsified asphalt is basically asphalt, tiny, tiny droplets of asphalt that are mixed in water. And what this does is, as you pour it in here, as the water evaporates, the asphalt oily residue stays behind, and it tends to make the brick waterproof. So that's the plan here, is to try to waterproof the brick, stabilize it, and try to prevent it from breaking down over time. This kind I've got is just pourable driveway crack filler, and it's basically water, asphalt, so it's emulsified asphalt, little droplets mixed in water, but then they've added, because this is a crack repair designed to fill cracks in a driveway, they've added an extra ingredient which is good for us, and that is clay. They've added clay to this mix, so that by pouring this asphalt in here, we're not only stabilizing the brick, but we're also adding the clay that we think we're a little short on. So we're going to add just a little bit of this. It doesn't take much.
Oh.
I think they say about 6% of the mix should be this asphalt stabilizer. So we'll pour some in. Messy business making Adobe, girl. All right. This.
I wanted to see that again. It globbed out.
Sure did. Oh, it was beautiful too. All right, so there's our first, and then, and by the way, this will darken the brick just a little bit, but not enough where you would really notice it. Folks, get down to your ice cream and dairy store right away. Like a beautifully smooth brick.
I can't wait. I hope it doesn't fall apart and like melt away.
Yeah. Now, folks, there's an important reason why I chose to use asphalt. Actually, two reasons why I chose to use asphalt to stabilize this brick instead of cement. When you mix cement into an Adobe brick, it makes it more heat transferable. That means that it's able to give up and lose heat much faster than just a brick that's made of pure earth. And I think part of the reason for that must be that, you know, that lime and Portland cement and things like that in there, they just, maybe something to do with the porosity or something, just allows that heat transfer to occur much faster. And that's really not something that you want with Adobe. You want the Adobe brick to absorb and give up its heat very slowly and very steadily. You want it to be a much slower heat transfer process than with concrete block. Concrete block and brick and concrete mortar, they all give up their heat very readily. So the other reason is because asphalt's a little cheaper, and it's, believe it or not, is a little easier on the environment. It takes a whole lot of energy to produce cement, whereas asphalt is, you know, really sort of a byproduct of operations that are already going on. So it has a lower energy debit or whatever the term is involved in its production. So that's the reason. But let me get this mixed up some more. We'll get it poured into the molds. Well, Abby, you're right. Teal is good. It's a little warm. It worked hard on mixing this mud, but boy, it held up good. Team, don't we?
I think so.
And we only have to wait about 6 weeks for these to cure so we can test them.
I hope it holds up.
I think it will.
Are you happy with what happened? I mean, it really looked, as we put it in the mold, it really looked nice. And we talked about it looking very much like cement.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we took the mold off, we realized it was a little soupy.
A little wet. A little wet. I don't know. We'll learn as we go. We'll figure it out. But one thing is for sure, we're not going to be able to make bricks like this this way, this slowly out there. We need to make a whole bunch of them at once, and so we're going to have to figure out how to do this. So, but while we're waiting for these to cure, we have a lot of time to dance.
Are we gonna dance?
Let's dance.
Dance, 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 dance. What are you doing?
I don't know. What are you up for?
Salsa,
Salsa.
always. Turn me around, baby. We need some music. We're kind of waltzing.
Kind of waltzing.
I think we mixed it.
Good job. Folks, thanks for joining us. And please be sure to
Follow us on Facebook at Contentment Channel. Check us out on Instagram at Contentment Off Grid, and go to Blogspot and check out Contentment Off Grid for the adventures of E-Chip and Robert, where we are going to add some different things, a little more outside the box, not just all of this off-grid stuff. We're going to put some more fun stuff on there, like salsa dancing and how terrible we are at it.
Now, are you saying that this off-grid stuff is not fun?
Oh no, I'm not saying it's not fun. But maybe there are people who would be more interested in other things. I don't know what.
Like salsa?
Like salsa dancing, yes.
Okay.
In all seriousness.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, well, folks, we have other videos coming up on Adobe. This is going to take some time to cure before we can test these blocks. But we have some other videos coming up on different types of Adobe structures that I think you'll enjoy. Some historical content in them. And we had a great time filming them. What am I saying, filming? I date myself with that, don't I? We had a great time videoing them.
We're old.
So, folks, thank you for watching. And catch us on the next one. Take care.
Bye.